5, 4, 3. Welcome everyone to personal PER1205 Officiating. This is our unit that's part of our Bachelor of Coaching and Administration at ACPE. Welcome aboard, guys. I know a few of you by your name from last semester in my other online module. For those who I don't know, I hope to contact you in the next few days and introduce myself via a phone or emails. Today we're just basically an introductory video on officiating and what the requirements are and how we're going to navigate around through this. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is, of course, we're going to have a look at what is basically our Study Smart page. Where is that Study Smart page? It's not going to be on here. That'll be right. Hang on for a moment, guys. This is all fun and we really have to look at that. Okay, we'll just go back. We'll have a look. Current students, Study Smart. Bear with me, guys. Modern technology is not my friend. Okay, so the first thing that we do need to understand with officiating, guys, is we're not here to make you an official. You are going to get officiating certificates and all the rest, but it's not what our primary purpose is when we come out. What our purpose is to give you an insight into the life of an official. Now, if you are looking to work in any sport, in any capacity, you will know that at various times you are going to have to deal with officials. So this is more to give you an insight into the work and that an official has to go through, what makes a good official, what makes a poor official, and the relationships that can exist between officials and players and coaches. We'll look at a lot of examples throughout the semester, and we'll deal with a number of problems that officials face, coaches face, players face. So as I said, so if we go into our Study Smart page, now you should now have that in front of you. Here is our officiating Study Smart page. As you can see, unit info, and if we quickly click onto the unit info, that's going to give things like your outline, resources available, a few guides, and the evaluation. That's when you get to evaluate the course later on. I'm not sure if it is open to you just yet, but once it becomes open, click in and you can provide feedback. Now, don't just sit there and donkey vote on that evaluation. I really like my students to be extremely critical and point out my errors, what I've done wrong, what could be improved. It is the only way to enhance both myself and the learning capacity. Okay, so don't be too scared about sitting there and go, Trevor was a wanker. Because generally, once we get that information, it's well and truly after I've marked your assessments. So don't worry about being critical of me and think it's going to affect your grade. Maybe next year, if I get you again, maybe I'll get back at you then, but probably not. For those who don't know me, I'm an extremely funny guy and we will make it enjoyable, and generally I'll make fun of other classmates. But it's done out of love, okay, guys? So that's our unit info. Communicating, we'll have a quick look into communicating. Click on news. If you go into news, there's going to be such things. So here's a comment that I've already put up. It doesn't affect you. It's going to be where we're going to run our tutorials next week for the face-to-face, but that sort of information will come up. Okay, guys. About your lecturer, that's a bit of a bio about how good I am and all the rest. Google Hangouts, of course, that is there for you guys. So now if we go back in, let's get to what everyone wants. And here are our assessments. And this is how you're going to pass it. Now, there are 4 assessments here. Now, our first one is our officiating certificates. You have a General Principles of Officiating, which is run by the Australian Sports Commission. That is due week 3. Go online. The link is in here. If we have a look at that. General Principles, Assignment Specifications. So if we click in, so here we have Learning, Sport Gov. You click that in. If you really put a lot of effort into it, it takes about 2.5 hours online. It's almost instantaneous once they make available your certificate, and you just email me your certificate on completion. The NRL one, again, we've currently got one set up in NRL, play NRL, and that will help you with getting your NRL level 1 certificate. Again, there are 10 modules online. There's also a face-to-face component. Now, we have organised for the NRL to set up an ACP-specific course for this, for the face-to-face components that are here at Olympic Park. Now, of course, if you're in Perth or Korea or somewhere, you're not going to be able to get through to the ACP one. There are a number of other courses that they run throughout the country and that you can log in and book in and do them on that point. There's no difference in the cost. It costs you $25 whether you do the ACPE one or any of just their standard ones. The modules, week 6, I need to know, I have confirmation from you by that time that by week 6 you have completed the 10 online modules. There'll be face-to-face components and an actual officiating component that you need to do for it. So there will be a delay in that. Week 10 is your athletics, Australian athletics officials. Now, when you click onto that, some of the face-to-face have been a bit worried about just how much it is required because there's 1,000 athletic events. You only have to do one event, whether it's the 100 meters, the long jump, shot put, javelin, the 50-kilometer walk, whatever it is you choose to do, you are only required to do the officiating module for one of those subjects or one of those events in track and field, okay? So again, it's done online. Bingo, you get your 3 certificates, fire them off to me. Now, these have no value towards your overall grade, but they are compulsory. If you have not completed the 3 certificates and forward them to me, you receive a fail incomplete mark on the subject until such time as the 3 officiating certificates have been provided. Now, get it up, get it done, and it'll be sweet. Now, when we get to marks, we then get to, we'll just go back out of that. Slow, very slow this morning. So there's our assessments, okay? Shouldn't have clicked out of that. So we then have our essays. We got an essay, a video analysis, and an exam. Now the essay is we click in, it's due submissions and specifications. It is a 1,000-word essay on a diverse group. A diverse group can be anything from disabled athletes to children to old age, normal adults, adolescents, Indigenous populations, any multicultural, any religious, a socioeconomic, anything you wish, okay? But we can't just comment on what we believe or what we get off the internet. We need academic articles to support our position. I'm running a tutorial next week during the tute time for this course with the face-to-face, where we are going to go through that searching. I will put up a webinar that will take you through it as well to help you identify the most appropriate articles. You can pick any diverse group you choose. It is due week 6. You will load it up via Turnitin. Okay, it's 1,000 words, guys. So you need to define what the diverse group is, explain and elaborate on the characteristics that are associated with this diverse group. For instance, if you are umpiring in netball and you have a female participant who is a Muslim faith and she's required to wear certain garments with her religion. However, what you may have is umpiring or in netball are specific rules on uniform and what you are and are not allowed to. So you may need to discuss how uniform attire and traditional rules and regulations and how you need to deal with that as an official when you're talking about a diverse population. So that's the sort of things we're looking at, and looking at actual peer-reviewed articles for your supporting evidence. And that's what this is, primary journals. So we're looking at general strength and conditioning, anything in a sports discus, which is sports discussion. That we'll find, and we'll go over that next week for you to, and there will be a webinar up on there to help you identify those journals. Accurate APA referencing. Now, I know this is a bone of contention with every university student everywhere in the world. It was the same. I know I went off my dial when I was doing my undergrad, and I remember sitting there going, I didn't realise that a Bachelor of Exercise Science was also dealing with a diploma in referencing. Yes, it is a pain, but it is a requirement. It is always a requirement, and it will never change. So get onto your APA referencing, your guides, your styles, and apply it, okay, in text and reference list. It's sort of like going to the dentist. You don't have to go to the dentist, but if you don't, your teeth fall out. Okay, so it's a necessary evil. So I understand your complaints. I understand the annoyance of it, but you have to understand it's a requirement. Okay, so accept that and we get onto that, and life will be good. So that is number 2, your essay. Now, if we go down to your video analysis, specifications and submission, basically you're going to video yourself officiating a sport, a game, an event, something along those lines. And then you're going to supply the video of you doing the officiating. You are then going to have a 1,500-word analysis and reflection on your performance. What you did good, what you did not do well. And you can't just say, oh, I thought I did real good. Yeah, mate, they mouthed off to me, but I didn't care. What you have to do is discuss the things that you did quite well based on the evidence that we've discussed in this semester. So if we're having a look at various things like communication, and we'll do a module on communication, and you can sit there and have a look and go, look at communication. Smith and Jones specified that an official will talk in an appropriate manner with non-aggressive body language, and develop a friendly rapport with the officials. During the official, I established that rapport, and I had a good communication dialogue with most of the players. So that element of my officiating was extremely well done, and the preparation I made based on what Smith and Jones indicated worked well. However, I did have one incident when one particular athlete did argue with me, and I responded, and we had a little bit of an argument. I need to look at strategies to deal with that a little bit better. Jones and Smith, as opposed to Smith and Jones, stipulated a number of strategies that could be applied when dealing with the confrontational athlete. So I'll need to look at that. That's the sort of thing we need to look at, okay? And you need to deliver with your analysis and reflection of your performance. Now, when that's assignment, that one won't let me go back. Now, the final one is our video exam. Now, our video exam is in week 12 during your tute time. For the online guys, I'll speak to you in the next few weeks. We'll organise the time, and it'll probably be done along the way of a Google Hangout, where I'll provide you with the videos. You watch the videos, and once you watch the videos, you will then discuss, as with your video analysis of yourself, what you saw the incidents showed, what was good about it, what was not good about it, based on what you've learned. You're not going to have to quote peer-reviewed articles during the exam, because you're not going to have those with you. But you are going to have to use the supportive evidence based on what you have learned to support whether or not you thought they did well or did not do well. Okay. Now, to give you an example, most of these videos that you get in your exam, you will have seen them before, you will have analysed, you will have discussed them a number of times before in the forum posts. And that's what we'll move on to. So that's week 12, and as I said, we'll contact and we'll organise how we're going to get you guys online to run it. Now, it doesn't mean you all have to do it at the same time, because you all have different requirements, but it's something that we will work out quite quickly, and so you don't have to sweat too much about it, okay? So now if we could go back, and we go back again. Okay, now each week, one of these should appear. I say should because it is the IT department, as I've often mentioned. I know they'll tell you it's information technology, but I think it's IT, because it might work, it might not. So this is week 1. Hopefully next week it'll come up March 14th, week 2. Now, if we click on this, this is our weekly activities that we're going to discuss, the learning material. Prepare, quite simply, that is, read this prior to, give you a bit of an opening, bit of an information. Again, you're online. You've got a lot of other things to do. I expect you to be able to self-manage your learning on this. If you had listen to watch and we click in, here we go. This is your online lecture. I think it was Justin or Jason, someone with a J anyway, I apologise. Said you had problems with the video and the audio. Again, if you haven't, if you want to continue to have those problems, because at my end it does seem to work, you may need to contact our IT department to see if there's something with the setup or if there's a conflict. It comes to technology problems, and you might as well ask Adore as ask me how to fix it. Okay, so yep, go on to our online lecture notes here. These are the PowerPoints of the slides that you can print out, download, and go through. So listen to the lectures. It's Brad, not me, that's actually recorded these lectures at this stage. So he's nowhere near as funny as me. So he'll provide you with excellent information, but you just won't have a good time at it. Okay, please try not to knock yourself out by falling asleep while you watch the lectures. I remember doing my undergrad, and I know how riveting lectures can be. All right, boys and girls. So we go back, and that's our lectures and information communication. Again, that's dealing and between each person. But here we go. This is the area I wish you to look at, listen and watch, participate, dig deeper. Will usually be additional readings that you can look at that can extend on the information. Now, if we have a look at this, participate, tutorial 1 activity, word association. I want you to pop up with certain things that basically enter into the forum post what you think, 5 words to you, sort out what an official is. Okay, good, annoying, egotistical, power trip, honesty, integrity. That's the sort of things we're talking about. Along here, there's additional readings on these topics as well. Tutorial 1 activity. Again, that's going to be give you an information on the sorts of things that we want you to take out of it. So you can click onto that each week, and it'll have a series of questions and topics that we're going over in the face-to-face, and we'll more or less direct you on how to look at things. Now, afterwards, we have our post-class discussion forum, which is what this group information is. So if we have a look at this, officiating involves more than just blowing a whistle. Let's dig deeper into officiating and have a look. Now, the first point that's there that's an article on Surf Life Saving Australia or Surf Life Saving and a competition they ran a couple of years ago now. I think it was 2013, where one of their competitors drowned during it. And it's an overview of the coroner's report and a lot of the instances that occurred. Now, we think of officiating as the person in the middle of the room, the middle of the field, blowing a whistle, calling up, giving him out or not out. But there's others officials. Now, think you're coaching at a club, and that club's running a gala day of any sort, a round robin fixture, a sevens tournaments, could be anything, a community-based operation to generate both numbers, money, and engagement with the community. Most clubs, or a lot of clubs, will have days like this. Now, as an official of the club, it may be your responsibility. And this is where this one comes to, that you will have to look at that from an official's point of view, and where the officials, not necessarily the guys who are timing the competition, but those who are in charge of the running of the competition and the things that, the errors or the problems that approached and how they could have better dealt with it. Think of it this way: if you have a national sporting body, like say Football Australia, and you've gone through them and you're running an official round robin or a soccer player, a 9-a-side or a 5-a-side competition for a bit of a fun to start off, and it's been supported, and Football Australia goes, we want to use your grounds and we'd like your officials to run it. And they come in, what is one thing you have being a local that they don't have? I expected you to answer, but of course this isn't done live with you guys, so you can't answer. But basically what we'd be thinking about really is what they can do is local knowledge. And if we go through that, there's things that the locals go, hang on, this is unusual, whereas people, if they're not local. So how is an official of an event and the sorts of problems they came up with? And don't look at it and go, oh yeah, they should have stopped that. Sit there and go and sort of have a look at it and put in what they should have done and how they should have approached each point. Because it's easy with 20/20 hindsight to sit there and go, yeah, that was bad, someone drowned, they should have stopped. We've got to look at this from their point of view, so how they can apply the information that was being provided and how they can use that, okay? Now, this next video is Daniel Eastwood. He's an NRL official. I think he's predominantly a touchy, but he talks about what goes through his day of the day and from his viewpoint, not necessarily on the refereeing or the viewing, but just that general day-to-day things and how they deal with it. So I want you to sit there and have a look at that, and in 100 words, what was a few of the things that he brought out that perhaps as an official you would not have thought of, having not been an official? Okay, so that's just a simple interview and a discussion, and his areas of concerns, his areas why he doesn't do it, problems with it, and how it could be improved, and what he does to enhance as well. And this bottom one is this guy here, Wayne Barnes. He's an IRB referee, so he referees international rugby union matches, plus he referees the top levels of club rugby in England as well. And he's going through a contentious issue in rugby and ruling at the breakdown. Now, if you don't know rugby, you go, well, what's this all about? I'm not overly concerned with understanding what's going on. I want you to listen to him and explain the process. Now, this is done stage by stage and very slowly. To think that in a game that there's probably maybe 100 of these in a game, and how many decisions and things he has to consider. So it's to give you an idea of the decision-making processes that officials go through every step. Because in a game, officials have been found to make upwards of 200 decisions. That could even be non-decisions. Do I blow a whistle? Do I call that guy offside? He's offside, but he's not involved. We'll let that go. There's one decision. So he talks about here the breakdown, what the actual rule is, but what they're looking for and whether or not they're making a decision. One of the things that referees will often talk about is why they didn't call up a penalty, and they'll talk about no material effect. So in other words, yes, what they did was wrong. However, it had no impact on the game, so it was better to let the game flow than to blow up a whistle for a trivial thing. So that's more to give you of the decisions that referees are making, and any sport will have that. Is that what's happening? What is happening? What isn't happening at this? Is that right? That is right. That's incorrect. And it's actually not a bad video just to explain that, to show you the process that referees make. Once you do, add a discussion, click on, type in, enter, and it comes up. Here we got Ryan making his last night. That's quite conscientious of him. And Samuel posting at 11 o'clock when we were in class yesterday. So he wasn't actually listening to me. He was commenting. I'll bring that up with him next week. He's gone. No, I'm joking. Yes, he is. No, I'm not. Yes. Now, if you guys can get together in groups and have a discussion or a chat, like I'll try and set up a Facebook page and send you guys invites or links to where you'll find this Facebook page that you can add to, and you guys can discuss it as an online group. And then, I thought this, did anyone else comment on that? Yeah, we comment. Yeah, I thought that too. Okay, well, let's put this up, and then you can post it as the online group in this discussion topics. So started by, and we come up as one person's name, and you can say discussion online, video 1, video 2, or Daniel Eastwood, Wayne Barnes, or life saving. And that's what it is. And each week we're going to have these topics that are going to be available. Okay, so that's in our video post-class discussion forums, and you can read and look at each of them. So that's it. And as I said, so that's within it each week. And hopefully next week, is this doing it? Hopefully next week it will come up and we'll have March 14 week 2, and that will be a similar layout. Now, I am going to try to call some of you over the next few days to catch up. Hang on, I'll just get out of that. We close that. I'll get rid of that. Yeah, so I'll contact you just to check to make sure you've got a problems. Like I said, if you do have any issues, call me up at the campus. If I'm not at my desk, it will go to voicemail. Leave me a message and a phone number to call you. Also, give me a time to call you. If you are working, coaching, or anything, the last thing I want to do is call you whilst you're in the middle of a meeting with your boss or a training session or driving a car. Just a time to do it. Also, be aware of time difference. If you're somewhere else in the world or on the other side of the country, just allow for the time difference. Okay, guys? So hopefully I'll catch up with you in the next few days via a phone. If not, again, if you have issues, feel free, send me emails, give me a call. Any problems, don't be afraid to ask. The only dumb question is the question you ask yourself. why you didn't ask Trevor this when you're doing the exam. All right, guys. Now, have fun officiating. Get onto it. Let me know how you go, and feel free that you can drop me a line anytime you desire. Okay, guys, all the best, and enjoy the semester. Catch you soon.